Hey, it's time for Short Story Saturday. Let's go. So welcome back to Kevin Toll Reads, where today we are kicking off with another short story from Agatha Christie in the Miss Marple collection. We are talking about the story, The Tuesday Night Club, published in 1927. Agatha Christie, again, I think does a great job with this character. I really enjoyed this story. The summary of this is you have a gathering of a group of individuals talking about, hey, let's talk about some unsolved mysteries. And so you have Raymond West, who's a writer and happens to also be the nephew of Jane Marple, or known as Miss Marple, the lace-wearing sleuth. You have Sir Henry Clithering, a world traveler. You have Dr. Pindler, he's a clergyman. You have Joyce Lemarie, who is an artist, and then you have Mr. Petherick, who's a lawyer, and they're sitting around talking about this. And lo and behold, I think it's Joyce is the one who says, what day is it? It happens to be Tuesday. And they say, we should come up with this club where, we all meet on Tuesdays. We'll call it the Tuesday Night Club, and each person brings forth a mystery or unsolved mystery that we can talk about and present facts and then see if we can figure out what is going on. And so in this inaugural event, they have Sir Henry kick it off with his tale. And the problem that he presents is an interesting one. You have a wife, a husband, and the wife's friend. They all sit down for a dinner. They all three get ill. The wife ends up dying. And so then they start talking about some various facts and what the police did and looked and investigated, but they couldn't figure out why or how. And then they try to see who can come up with the correct answer. And so what makes this a really good short story? It's a quick read, obviously. Again, I think Agatha Christie's writing is definitely something that I'm enjoying. For something that's written almost 100 years ago, you kind of question whether or not the writing is going to stick with you. The prose, I find it all very easily accessible, matter of fact. I really enjoyed the caper. I think it's a simple premise, but I think it offers a lot. I like that there was kind of a diverse group of individuals, and there's some conversations back and forth that I thought were really kind of interesting. It's quick because obviously it's only 14 pages. I like the dynamic of Raymond West, the nephew, kind of at first when Miss Marple would weigh in on different things or make various comments, he would kind of, make the assumption that she was a little out of her depth. And then lo and behold, obviously, Miss Marple is the one that's going to figure this thing out. In terms of excerpts, I enjoyed this one that kind of summarizes, this caper or mystery. The facts are very simple. 3 people sat down for a supper consisting, amongst other things, 10 lobster, and later that night, all 3 are taken ill, and a doctor was hastily summoned. 2 of the people recovered. The third one died. And that's the excerpt that kind of sums this up. In terms of rating and overall, I give this a 4.2. It's cozy. It's a fast read. I'm enjoying Miss Marple mysteries. I like her as a character. I like Christie's writing. It's just a feel-good story. They're late at night. Get your blankie. This is a good story type of thing, and I really enjoyed it. So that is my take for Miss Marple, the Tuesday Night Club. And so now we're going to talk about the next story for Saturday Shorts, and I went back to Full Throttle, this anthology from Joe Hill, and we're talking about the story Fawn. This was published in 2019 amongst this anthology. It is a fantasy thriller story. It's 42 pages in length. And a summary of this, it starts in a hunting blind. You have a gentleman by the name of Tip Follows who is trying to bag a lion, and they're in this blind with kind of more modern equipment, thermal imagery, modern, TV screens, up above, up above in a tree type thing. And he's surrounded by a couple of young boys, college-age kids, as well as a gentleman by the name of Stockton. Stockton's in the pharmaceutical trade. Both Follows and Stockton are very well off, and they're on this game preserve trying to bag a lion, as well as Stockton and Fallow have become friends over the course of the last year. And so In doing so, Stockton keeps making mention about this really cool preserve and this small door, and how there's this kind of elusive place in Maine that has this little small door that leads to places you won't believe. And Fallows is putting it off because his focus is on bagging his lion. And then lo and behold, something after he bags his lion happens where the lion's not fully dead. And Stockton feels obligated to make do on some of his mentions of this hunting preserve he keeps kind of foreshadowing. And that's where the story really gets interesting. And so what did I like about this short story? Well, the mystery and the buildup is really, really good. I think it's very well done. I like the characters. There's definitely some dynamics here. You have Stockton and his son, Peter. Peter seems to be one of those kids that doesn't really know a lot, not very smart, but comes from a wealthy family. Whereas Christian, the other character, he is definitely one of those not privileged kids, but is very good friends with Peter. They're college roommates. He seems to be more well-adjusted. Stockton almost looks at him in a little kind of a sense of reverie because he knows his son's kind of a disappointment. And so that creates some interesting character dynamics. Tip Follows is a well-off gentleman who has a war background as a soldier, and that piques the interest of Peter, as well as Stockton. But there's definitely some contrast there as a character, but there's a lot of mystery with Follows as well. There is some huge twists in here that are really, really good. Really, really good. And I can't really go into that without spoiling this thing. I did have one excerpt that was really interesting. Upon arrival at the farm for their hunt, Miss Charn offers them pea soup, the first course. Even though it looked like something Reagan barfed in The Exorcist, it was hot, salty, and Peter finished it so quickly he felt cheated. I thought that line was just really good. As someone who read The Exorcist, when they're giving that kind of analogy, I thought was really interesting. If you've seen the movie too, and I thought it was funny. But anyways, in terms of rating and overall, this is a 4.7 read. It is the highest rated short story in 2025 for me. I really, really enjoyed this. It reminded me a little bit of kind of a modern day hunting, but then mixed in with some The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe from C.S. Lewis. Overall, it's so good. I mean, this is the type of short story really where you're looking for the author, for Hill, to go back in and kind of expand on the short story, because there's so much you could do here. You have portal fantasy, you have hunting, you have these twists and reveals, you have these otherworld beings. And so there's just so much to draw upon that could be expanded here into a novella or its own full-length novel. I think would be really, really cool. I really enjoyed this one. It was a great, great short story. I highly recommend. I've enjoyed both short stories from this collection so far. There's a lot more to offer, and so I definitely look forward to that as well. And that is my take, friends, on Short Story Saturday. Again, I have been really blessed over the course of the last several months of just knocking it out of the park with short stories. I'm picking some great ones, and I'm really enjoying it. And I hope you enjoy this review of both these books, and I will talk to you all in the next one. Thanks.